Okay, so today we're here to take a look at this thing. It's called the Vindrick thing from IKEA. Okay, I've already unboxed it, right? So, gonna put that aside. This is it. Okay, I've got a little piece of tape on it, ignore that. So, we'll be making this into a tiny little nice DIY sensor for Home Assistant, and I'll be showing you the steps and how to go about doing it, right? Okay, so let's take a look at it first before we do anything to it. Going to plug in. So the nice thing about it is that it's USB-C, right? It stays there as well, USB-C. So you plug it in. Right, it will do a little startup sequence, and when it's done, you'll basically start reading, right? So there's a little fan in there. Okay, you're not going to be able to hear it, but yeah, there's a little fan in there that would basically pull air in from here, pass it through the sensor, and then let it air out here, right? So that's about it. Let's get into it. Okay. So to get into this, there's basically just 4 screws. You will need a long screwdriver, right? Those short bit ones will not work because it has to go pretty deep. So thereabouts. Okay, so I've taken out most of the screws for the sake of time. Right, and once you've gotten all the screws out, right, the front just comes right off, and that's all that's in there. Okay, so you can take everything out. This comes out by just pulling on it. This is the sensor module itself. This is the back unit, and by unplugging this input and this fan, you essentially get the sensor unit on its own. We're not going to mess with that, right? What we care about is this microprocessor, right, or circuit board. So if you unscrew this, there's 3 screws holding it in. Okay, you get to take it out. We'll have a look at the rest of it first. So this is just some plastic thing that you can pop right off, and that's why I have a tape on it, because I intend to spray this black or something maybe, and I want a bit of lights to come through, so that's why that's there. Okay, so looking at the rest of it, there's just some plastic standoffs, and that's about it. So putting it aside for now, you look at this board. So looking at this, okay, you just have the USB-C and the initial power delivery. At the bottom, you've got some pads here for the LEDs, right? LED 1, PWM fan, LED or green 1, red 1, and the fan negative and fan positive, right? So you can tap off those pads. There is here for, I'm not sure what this is, fan positive and negative as well, right? So then through here, that should be the microprocessor. Yep, that is the main logic chip that processes the output from the sensor. There is like 2 header pins and then 1 cap, right? The more interesting thing to us here is these top pads here, okay, which if I put it closer, you can see reads to be I'm not sure what the first one is. The second one is result. Then you have ISP clock. Yeah, I think the first one is ISP data. Then you have ground and 5 volts, right? So from here, what you can do is you can tap off this ground and 5 volts to power small microprocessor, and by reading off the result pin with a ESP32, you can basically push that data to whatever else you want, right? There is also another header up here. if it would focus. Right, which is about the same thing, right? Except designed in USB-ish, but not USB, so who knows? We're not going to use it, we're going to use the pads, right? Okay, so what else you're going to need? Give me a moment. Okay, so you're going to need an ESP32. This is dev board, right? That comes pre-soldered with the pins in, makes my life a bit easier. However, there was an oversight when I bought this, because clearly this does not fit in this case. So and ideally you want everything to fit within this space, so if you're going to do this, make sure the board fits within this dimension. So let me just see whether I can give you some amount of dimensions to work with. Okay, taking a quick measurement, it's about, let's see, 4.75 cm wide that way, and then just assuming that that is the whole way, it's about that's about 4.8, no, yep, 4.8 cm. So take your best shot, right? So maybe give it a bit less on the depth to like 4.5 thereabouts. You definitely want a bit of room. Okay, so but I'm gonna go approach this with, well, this issue at hand. Okay, so looking at it, when I looked at it, what I realized was, if I push the pins to the very front, right, and let this USB part stick out in the back, it just about fits, right? Then if you take the front portion and you try to put it on, you would see that, oh, this collides. Okay, this pin here collides, and but this doesn't serve much function except to hold this board to that corner, which doesn't really serve all that much purpose. So I'm going to just pull this off, cut it flush down. Then because there's the screws there still, so it should be no issues. Yeah, then that should allow me to fit that portion in. And on the back, looking at it, I will need to pull about there to there, if you see it, right? Yeah, I will need to cut that out, so I'm gonna take a Dremel to it and just slice it off. It's not gonna look the prettiest, but hopefully it works. Okay, so I'm gonna show you what it looks like after I'm done. Okay, so I've basically done that. Okay, so I have basically taken Dremel, cut out a slot here. Okay, and if I grab my, where is my, okay, there it is. Okay, if I grab my ESP32 and stuff that through there. Okay, it just about slides through. Oh damn, needs a bit of correction. Yep, there we go. Okay, once it goes through, you can see that it just barely clears it. Right, now on the other side, I've basically torn off that tab and tried to cut it down as flush as possible. Then with that, when I try to put it together, closes perfectly. Right, so from here, all I'm going to do is now use standard jumpers. I'm going to connect power on this and one data pin, and solder that to the main control board. Right, I will be back in a bit. Okay, so I've got this soldered now. Okay, basically, okay, I've got 3 colors here, just standard jumpers. These two go to power and ground. Then I'm going to pin 18 here, okay, to a data pin, which I'm going to use as a RX pin. Yeah, an RX pin. So, and then here I've just got it sorted to the 3 points that we talked about earlier, the power, ground, and the result pin. Okay, so from here, this just nicely goes back into the box. So let's do that. Going to connect the sensor back first. Okay, so we slot the sensor back in. Then we have to do some maneuvering, right? Get that down there without breaking anything. Okay, then once that's there, we just need to also slowly guide that through. Okay, and once it's out, you can yeah, we need to screw this back down. So maybe I should end it first, but oh well. Let's pull this back out a little bit. Random screw. Okay, so that will still be able to sit right there with no issues. Grab my screws and the screwdriver. I really wouldn't want to bore you, but well, I do need to put it back together, so skip forward if you need to. Okay, so that's done, so I'm just going to put it through. Need to make sure that I get both links in first, yep. Then put it through. Maybe I should make the hole a little bit bigger. It's a bit tedious to get it in. There we go. So once it's in, you need to clear the back, and once that's done, it's all back together. So one thing I've realized doing it this way is that you have now 2 options to power it, right? Because you've now got your USB-C, and I've got a micro USB there as well. Since the power from the board, if it comes through the USB, micro USB would go into the other board through that solder joint that we made. You can actually power it both ways. So I suppose that is a plus. Just a bit more. Yeah. So that's that. Okay. Let's just power it on to make sure it still works. And we should see a light on this board. So powering it on, you can see that light there, right? So that's showing that this is getting power, and you should be good. So that's powering it on, going through its standard sequence. Nothing to it, right? So I'm gonna jump to my desktop now, and I'm gonna show you the code for it, and how to flash it, and the result. Okay, so one thing to note is that I'm not going to go through the installation of Home Assistant and how to get the sensors set up and all that, and how to flash it, right? In terms of the hardware you need and all that. So if you want me to make a video on that, do leave comments, and if people request it, and I'll do it. Okay. Yep. Let's jump to my desktop. Okay, so there are basically a few ways to go about doing this. I'm using ESPHome. You could do it through Desmoda. Desmoda, I think. It's up to you, but for me, because I intend to use more sensors on each ESP, so ESPHome does do that a lot easier, right? So this is just a sample code. In here I'm just going to show you this, and then once all is said and done, this will be taken down, so don't worry about it, right? So essentially I'm just going to call this living room PM2.5, right? Platform is in ESP32, board type is just a standard development board, right? So all these are standard. Okay, allow API, allow over the air, give it a password, give your Wi-Fi SSID and password. Okay, so this is obviously, hold on. Okay, yeah, so as I was saying, here put your Wi-Fi SSID and password. Okay, this is obviously not mine. And then this is if you want to set a static IP, I normally would, so that you know where it is. Okay, then this is fallback captive portal. Okay, yep. Then for here, I'm just setting the UART pin, right? So like I said earlier, I'm connecting to pin 18 on my ESP, and then baud rate you have to set is 9600, and that's about it. So here you just set the platform, follow along. I'll have this code linked somewhere in the description. Then name the sensor. That's about it. So once it's done, upload it to ESPHome, right? Within Home Assistant, and install it to your ESP32. So you can do that connected to your server or your device, depending on how you set it up, right? So if I jump over to ESPHome now, what's, yeah, okay, let me change the screen, right? Not showing up. Hold on. Okay, yeah, so here in in Home Assistant, in ESPHome, right, you would then paste your code into a new config, right? Then you just come here, go to install, and then install it however you have, right? So I'm not going to show you this because I've already done it, right? I'm just going to show you the result of what can expect. So I will show you that after I get some data. Okay, yep, and so here is my PM2.5 sensor, and you can see the history through the past 2 days. Okay, it's not exactly past 2 days, but 2 days worth of history, and it's able to track the PM2.5 levels, and it sends it to here, right? So that's that. Thanks for watching. Yeah, leave comments in the description if you need any help, or you need see how they can discuss things together, right? Cheers.